Hey, what is up, guys? You're welcome back to Nerd After Hours. It's Carissa Bogart and myself again, and we're going to be talking about the new Westside Story. We're going to be talking about the new Spiderman and Witcher Season 2 that came out on Netflix. But here's your warning now, guys. Spoilers are afoot. So if you don't want spoilers, get out now.
I will when it comes to Witcher.
Yeah, Bogart may disappear when we get to the last topic. Carissa wants to share a story about her cat Mittens first, so go ahead and tell
Oh,
us this story.
I don't know if you've been seeing a lot of the cat videos. I've been trying to document the kittens a lot because they're
Mm-hmm.
growing really fast, right?
Yeah.
Um, and he's been a very doting uncle. You know, he's actually technically Carolyn's brother, just from a younger litter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've been really good friends since he's gotten to like his teenager ages. And I noticed he's been very doting with the kittens, almost mother-like.
Mm-hmm.
And he started doing things like he would be cleaning off the kittens' butts. You know, like they have to like eat the poop out of them. He's doing stuff like that. So at first I was like, okay, this is getting weird, but at least he's taking on like a parent type role.
Mm-hmm.
And this morning, like Carolyn's like laying in between us. She likes to go in underneath the blankets to get the warmth. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And then he crawled in after, and I go to look down, and he's nursing off her.
No! No! Really?
He's too old, and I had to take it. So, and then I got to come downstairs to find out he diarrheaed in one of my mom's plant pots and dumped the dirt everywhere. So I have a good feeling I know what made his stomach so upset. Because he's too old, and so yeah, he was sucking on his own sister's titties when he's too old.
God. I didn't know your cat family was from the South. Anyway.
It seems that way. Speaking of, hello, Turd Muffin, come here.
Oh, goodness, that's
Here.
funny.
He's not coming here.
Of course not. He's not going to get on camera. He's like, no, I'm not getting on camera. You just spilled my secrets all over the internet.
Look at him. He knows what he's done.
Oh, God.
He's right on the edge of the bed. I think I can reach. Come here. Come here. This is a face of a pervert. This is a face of a sinner.
He knows that you just called him. His ears were down and everything. He's
Bad,
just like, I know.
bad.
That's okay.
He takes out.
He's a villain too. Don't worry. He's a villain too.
Look at them. They're twins.
Yeah.
Little twins. Little white on the edge of the paws.
With the way their ears are down and slanted, they're like so pissed off right now. They're like, why are you doing this to us?
Both perverts. Both dudes.
Oh, yeah. He's a little monster.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like I said at the beginning of the video, guys, we're going to talk about the West Side Story. I have not seen this, but it's also not a movie I'm likely to see. So
Yeah.
just because it's just not my type of movie. So go ahead.
Do you not like musicals in general, or?
I mean, there's a few I like, but they're really hard for me to get into. Like, the only one I actually went and saw of my own accord was the one with Hugh Jackman and the circus. Oh, what is it called? The Showman. Greatest Showman.
The Greatest Showman. I
Yeah.
love that.
That's the only one I've ever went.
I've seen it, and it's not good.
It's the only one I've actually gone and see of my own accord, and the other because, like, you know, I thought, oh, a musical with circus, that seems interesting. And then I found out afterwards it was loosely, and I do want to repeat loosely based off of a true story.
Yeah, the facts of it, the guy was a jackass.
I honestly, it would have
I'm
just
brave
been
enough to
happier if they just was like, oh yeah, this is totally fiction. We just name the characters after real people.
Or just have fake names and everything. Like,
Yeah.
why?
Just tell me a feel good story about the first circus.
Creating names is the easiest part of creating a story. So the idea that you need to have that, it just doesn't.
Sometimes I come up with an entire backstory for a character before I even give them a name.
I mean, that makes sense, but I'm just saying, like, that's not the hard part, you know?
Yeah. Actually, you know, the funny thing is like in my book, the hero of my story and his brother were nameless for the longest time. I was trying to go, okay, well, what am I going to call these guys? And the reason why their last names is Connors is because when I was a teenager, my favorite superhero was Superboy. Yeah, from Young Justice. So, yeah. And I liked the clone Superman one, so I thought he was really cool. And So I was like, okay, cool, that's what we're gonna go with. And then I went and looked for names that were like, kind of had a, like Clark Kent, kind of have like a double alliteration. So then we got Chase and Keith Connors, and that's those, yeah, those were the heroes of my book. Anyway, that was just a sorry, I went on a tangent. Tell us about West Side Story.
I definitely like that one. It was exciting getting to see it because I know it was like my grandma's favorite, and I'd only seen like the 50s movie. I hadn't seen it done on play. And it wouldn't have been the type of thing I would have personally gone to see myself, but I wasn't like against going to see it either, you
It was
know.
my choice.
So Bogart's the one
For
with
context.
the man of culture among us, I see.
Musical theater, man.
See, I did theater as a kid, like, and as a teenager, and I enjoy it.
So did I.
Bogey actually buys like those year-long theater passes for
I did it for
Syracuse.
I bought one year season pass for the musicals at Syracuse.
That's dedication. So, like, he lives, breathe, like, it's hard for me to put anything on in the car that's not like from a musical, because every once in a while I want to listen to like regular music, and I have to try to like mix it up in between. Which I do love theater stuff, but it's definitely like
I got to
he's
see the Book of Mormon.
more intense than me about it.
So Bogart is so basically Bogart is the biggest thespian in the group here.
Yep.
Yes. You can actually like sing opera and stuff, which I did not know till we watched that movie, and I was like, oh. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually think it was I've never seen West Side Story done on stage, so I don't know if I'm biased in any way, so I don't have like that to compare it to. But I would definitely say in comparison to the older film, I think it was 100 times better, and it'd be the type of thing that I would think is worth like getting on DVD, and the type of thing I'd want to watch on a regular basis and add to like my favorite movies collection. So I was really glad I did see it, because once I saw it, I really liked it, but it wouldn't have been the type of thing I would think to go see. It's basically, if you haven't seen it, it's just racist Romeo and Juliet set to the 50s.
We're just putting it all out there. It's like, it's racist Romeo and Juliet. Like, damn.
Yeah, it's two rival, I don't know if you know anything, just two rival gangs. One's white and one's Puerto Rican.
Oh, okay.
And
now I see.
a white boy and a Puerto Rican girl see each other, and then the two gangs get mad, and then he's trying to make the peace so that he can be with the girl. And I don't want to spoil too much, but basically it ends tragically like Romeo and Juliet. It will make you super depressed if you're not already depressed. Yeah, for me it's more so a little bit annoying watching it, because so much of the horrible things happen in it are so preventable, but also I can't knock it too much, because it does seem like the type of stuff that did happen and still does happen.
Yeah.
But, that's part of what makes it frustrating. But I really, really liked a lot of the things they did for this one. For one, I liked the fact that they picked, like, typical white-looking guys, like, lighter hair, blue eyes. Because in the other one, I didn't really quite get the racist element. It was like they were trying to hide it, so I noticed, like, they made both sides not like that. And, a big thing that they did differently is that they actually casted people who were Puerto Rican to play the Puerto Ricans, whereas like the main girl especially, she was a white girl that they brown faced.
Like in the original movie or in this one?
In the old movie, not this one.
Okay.
That was one thing I liked, was she was a very traditional Puerto Rican looking girl, dark skin, brown eyes, and I thought that was really nice, because it didn't feel like they were trying to be like, oh, in order to be pretty, like, let's find the lightest. I don't know if she was still lighter skinned, but it didn't seem like she didn't look white though, so that was something I really liked, is that they didn't try to whitewash it. Is the right proper term. And I think I really liked the main girl in it. Her brother is like top of her gang, right? And his girlfriend / soon to be wife, she's kind of I would say a portrait for embracing fancy life. She's supposed to be very pretty, delicate, motherly like. And one thing I really liked is that they still had, you know, her wearing very gorgeous dresses. If you love like the aesthetic of square dancing, I can definitely see why this was my grandma loved square dancing. There's a lot of square dancing going on with the flipping skirts. They did such a good job. She has an amazing wardrobe because her whole thing is that she sews and works in clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so happy that they picked a very dark skin actress to represent a character who's supposed to be gorgeous. Because I feel like that's a really big thing they do is beauty usually doesn't coincide with darker skin, which is really silly and I don't think was right. But she was like, so seeing them give a role like that to somebody who wasn't as close to white passing as possible, I thought was really nice.
Yeah.
And they didn't shy away from a lot of the grosser elements, and I thought it was good to not, you know, try to humanize the other side as much. But they did a good job giving you very confusing feelings, because even though this other team is really racist and awful, you do see, like, the little slides of humanism here and there, and it felt a lot like when you're going to Thanksgiving, and it's like, I hate my racist grandpa, but he's still my family, and those confusing feelings you get with it. But still, in the end, of course, he's choosing her, who's the family he chooses. But of course, everything has to end in shit because it's a sad story. But I really, the biggest thing that I love they did was they played with color a lot. Like, it's those little things that they didn't really think to do in the original. Like, this one, everything's always moving. Like, it feels definitely like a musical. Like, you're watching, like, everybody, even if they're just, I don't know, like, making coffee, they're, like, kind of dancing while they're doing it. So it's not like you're just kind of awkwardly watching people sing as they're doing stuff. You know, it has, like, a rhythm to it.
Yeah.
Because the movie is over 2 hours long, and I felt like it was barely an hour and a half. It really didn't feel as long as it did because everything moved so smoothly. And they really did a good job playing with colors, because, you know, like, you see the police coming a lot, and you see those red and blue lights, but they also have the side set up. Like, they kept it very consistent where one gang was always in blue, the other one was always in red, like, you know, reds, yellows, and purples, and, you know, things like during the dance sequences, you can see the two colors intertwining, and it's all those little clever things where they're not too obvious about it. Like, when the main girl is finally embracing, she's going to go out with the white guy from the opposing team. You see she's wearing a blue dress for the first time in the entire film. She's embracing him. And you see a lot, and they do things like when they're at the church table and they're doing the weddings, you see the opposite colors start to go on each other's faces and stuff. They play with, it was just little things like that. They really played with color a lot, and nothing ever was boring to look at. Everything was very beautiful. It's more like you're watching art, you know, it's not movie. Yeah, I really liked the little things like that. And yeah, I like the fact that they didn't shy away from the gross aspects, whereas I think a lot of other versions literally whitewash it, so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what would you rate the movie?
I would definitely give it a 10 out of 10. I really didn't have any complaints. Yeah. That was the thing, is it's, as I said, it wouldn't have been the type of thing I would have thought to see, but I thought it was just done right. There wasn't at any point where I was bored or feeling anxious. And, like, I'm the type of person with ADHD. I usually have to be playing on my phone or doing something. But the entire time I was watching it, I felt engaged. Even though I knew the entire story by heart, I knew how it was going to end. They did a good job of making it worth watching, if nothing else, because of how beautiful everything was done, you know? It was just a beautifully shot film, you know? And I think they did a better job, like, setting up the pace. I feel like the original one definitely rushed it a little bit, whereas even though the love story happens quickly, it felt natural at the same time. It felt more like you're falling in love with them rather than it being forced. There was a lot of very natural chemistry. It was very cute. And I like the fact that they played up the QC aspect rather than the horny aspect, because it makes it a lot more tragic when shit hits the fan, you know? Rather than, you know, if it was...
I'm just chuckling because I keep thinking of that TikTok, you know, this is the right amount of horny.
The amount of horny. This is bullshit.
This is bullshit. Yeah.
Hi, Mama Girl. Welcome. Yeah, I really see. There was just a lot of little things they did that really made me feel impressed with it. The characters were a lot more developed. There was one thing that I felt was a little bit of a cop out where they made it so there's a shopkeeper who he lives with who's Puerto Rican, and she had a white husband. So it felt like it was that thing of you are not the first one to do this, and to me that felt kind of silly because I felt like that was kind of the point of the story is that they were going and doing something reckless, whereas when they had it like this, it's more like, oh, this woman that I already like and admire had the same experience I did, and I don't, it wasn't awful. I thought the scenes with her were very nice, and I liked the character, but I didn't feel like that added as much, but at the same time, it didn't ruin anything. Mm-hmm. But it definitely felt like the How to Train Your Dragon scene, like where you find out the mom was actually the first one who trained dragons, not Hiccup, and then it's like, well, you're just taking away fighting characters. If you haven't seen How to Train Your Dragon 3 by now, then you deserve it. I don't know.
I haven't seen How to Train Your Dragon 1.
Well, that's not my problem.
How do you feel about the scene when the girl's sister comes into the shop?
The girl's sister? Oh, the rape scene?
Yes.
Oh my god.
That I thought was done so well. I know in the original movie they really played it up for laughs. I noticed that where it was kind of more if you don't know, they didn't really, it wasn't as shocking, whereas in the new movie scene I felt like I was getting PTSD from it, you know? Which I liked the fact that at least the girls were trying to stop them in this one, and they just kind of kicked them out rather than that, which I wouldn't always think would always happen, but I think it showed that there was some form of understanding. It was hard to watch, but that scene should be hard to watch, you know?
Yeah.
It did its job. That's all I can say. It did its job.
That's a very. I think that's the only right answer and the only way to put that.
Yeah. It was unpleasant. I didn't like it, but you're not supposed to. So
yeah. It's like when you're watching It's like when you're watching a horror movie and you're watching like a kid get axed or something. It's supposed to be disturbing.
Yeah. But I can't stand. We watched a horror movie last night, and I was just like, I felt gross all the time. I can't stand watching that stuff.
It wasn't a horror. It was just creepy.
I don't know what the difference there is, but I don't know. People were getting killed, and there was blood everywhere, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, there's definitely a handful of horror movies that really like bring out my like, oh god, let me at him.
I have a very weak stomach. I can't take that stuff. Mm-mm.
That for me, that's how you know you have a really good horror movie when my instinct is let me at him. I want to fight the monster. That's how you know for me you've got a really good villain. When I want to fight your villain and I can't fight for shit and I want to fight him. Like there's this horror movie that I can't remember the name of it. The guy has like a black mask and it's like almost tar like.
Oh
yeah. And there's a scene where he like saws a lady in half and it just pisses me off for some odd reason. Like, and it's gory as hell, like blood everywhere, and
I can't watch that stuff. It just makes me feel really sick. Yeah.
It's also very
the only form of violence I can enjoy is if the person who's like getting the violence done to them deserves it. Like I was able to really enjoy Django. Or like I would probably enjoy Promising Young Woman, but I haven't seen it yet, so no spoilers, you know. Yeah. But like for the most part, I can't. Violence makes me feel so sick to my stomach, and it's just.
Yeah. That's why I was meaning, like, that's how you know you have a really good, like, I feel like that's how you know you're really good at storytelling, when you can really, like, draw out those emotions, like, of, like, when you have a villain who is truly vile, it makes the good people in the audience want to step up and try to stop him, even though they can't, and then, that's how you know you have really good villains in your story, when like, there's a reason why Umbridge is more hated in Harry Potter than Voldemort. That's all I'm saying. People hate her way more. And the actress who plays her did a phenomenal job in the movies of making us hate her. Anyway, sorry. Tangent.
See, I haven't seen Harry Potter, at least most of them, so I don't got much to add. I watched a few of the originals this past year, and I was supposed to finish watching them all, and I never did.
They're good though. Why are you not watching them?
I feel like I'm too old for it. Like, I feel like it would have been the type of thing I would have really gotten to as a kid, but as an adult, I can't relate to things about kids, you know? So unless it's already nostalgic for me, watching it just makes me frustrated because I'm like, who's watching these kids? They're in mortal danger. This is bullshit. You know, I feel like a mom or just somebody who's babysitting, but I can't actually intervene with anything. And it's very frustrating for me. As I said, I think if child me had watched it, I would have been able to get really into it. But the problem is I'm an adult now watching these children get in really dangerous situations, and it makes me frustrated.
You're the type of person I feel like if you were a superhero on a say all right, so for example, let's say you and I existed in the DC universe, right? Huh. You're the type of person who would be mad that the Teen Titans exist.
Yeah, these are teenagers. Don't be putting them on missions. They need to be going to school. What?
They have powers though, and they're going
maybe
to use them
few hours after school they can hang out for a bit, but you're gonna have them go live in an apartment alone, and you expect them to just homeschool themselves? No. If teen is in the name, then maybe don't team them up. I don't know.
In the comic books I think they had the Red Tornado watching them for a little while or something like that,
right? That's something that I remember going through and watching the cartoon. I'm like, what on earth? These guys, it's called Teen Titans, but they look like they're 10, right? And they act like 10-year-olds.
Oh yeah,
and they just live in an apartment together.
Yeah, on
Why
Titans
isn't
Go,
Batman
they're
babysitting them? What is going on here?
I can't wait until she watches Miss Marvel.
What happens in Miss Marvel?
Oh, it's a teenager that becomes a superhero.
She's not a teenager.
That's
Miss
Captain
Marvel is, yes. But
Miss Marvel is a teenager. It's a different character.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel aren't the same character anymore. She actually used to be back in the 90s. The chick that we all know as Captain Marvel today was Miss Marvel in the 90s, and then they were like, why don't we just call her Captain Marvel? She's got the same powers as the dead guy. So it just, you know what I mean? And she was actually I think a captain or something like that in the military in the comic book, so it just made sense for her to do it. And plus, it's a gender neutral name anyway. So it just made sense. Yeah. So then they made Miss Marvel a whole different superhero, and they created Kamala Khan. And I love her because she pisses off bigots, and that's my favorite thing.
There's going to be a live action show.
Yeah.
With her, a teenager, being a superhero.
Looking up to Captain Marvel.
Although personally I don't like that her superpowers are changed.
Yeah, I think that they were. I think somebody was saying they were doing that to make her have more of a parallel to Captain Marvel, but I don't necessarily think there was a reason for that.
Yeah, I don't think there needed to be. I liked her original powers. I like the video game powers.
You know what I like the idea of? I don't know if Marvel's doing this, but I think Marvel might be doing a bait and switch. So, for example, they showed you a clear toy with her with an energy-based thing, right? What if, instead it's that the toy is just the big hand or energy hand or whatever they have is just not colored on purpose, so as not to give away her powers. Which I felt, which would be an interesting bait and switch. I mean, I don't know why they would go that route, to be honest, but I don't know.
I really don't know.
Also, rubber powers are kind of weird and hard to do on and make them believable looking in live action. I don't know why, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But we kind of got off topic here. But yeah, I was saying, to go back to your West Side Story thing, it was I was saying that's the big thing about having the hateable villains of the story. It's just, to me, it's a good element of storytelling when you make your audience feel something.
Yeah.
So.
I I honestly, my favorite kind of stories are the ones that aren't really villain or hero oriented, but just about everyday life. But I think you need a little bit of both. But
Well, I'll put it this way: you're the protagonist in your life and the antagonist in somebody else's. If you want a real world experience there.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it is in everybody. I don't know if anybody cares enough about me to hate me, though. I would kind of wonder. Like,
well, I think there's a handful of very fragile white men who probably hate you.
yeah, but I can't get on, I can't relate to them. I don't care if they hate me. I think it's funny.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. Oh, I
don't.
thought you were just meaning like you don't think anybody actually hates you. I'm like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's some fragile white guys out there who are pissed off
Yeah.
that, there's probably some fragile white guys out there who are like pissed off that you have like short hair and all that shit.
Yeah.
They're not like, get back in the kitchen. Or some bullshit like
You
that.
tasted my cooking? No, I do not belong in the kitchen, frankly.
Did you see my comment when you were on live?
I'm trying to remember what it was.
I was like, Carissa, get out of the kitchen before you burn something.
Oh. I did burn something.
Did you really? I was just kidding.
And a few fries. I burnt them good. But they didn't taste bad.
Okay.
Yeah, that tastes pretty good.
But
All
they were
right.
technically burnt. But I like my food crispier, so I was having trouble with the fries because, of course, I don't have a deep fryer, so I was trying to make it as much like fries as I could. But it's like I just kind of overcooked them, trying to get them crispy, but it didn't really get crispy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the oven.
It's
It wouldn't work the same either.
You're trying to make
I
them
wouldn't.
like
It wouldn't get that.
it's like that TikTok meme. You're trying to make them like hot chips so you can lie.
Hot chips. Girls only do two things: eat hot chip and lie.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
That's not the kind of girl I am. I'm simply a gaslighter and a gatekeeper and a
no.
girl boss.
Oh yeah, totally.
I do enjoy the occasional hot chip, but I never lie.
No need for that. The truth is so much more painful.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. All right, so are we ready to get to Spider-Man? This is the topic I've been jonesing for. Okay,
Yes.
fine. All right, so man, where do we begin with this movie? I thought this movie was sad.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a good movie, but it was definitely sad.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like, I was really hoping for Peter to get like the mega happy ending. I know it sounds really stupid, but I really wanted main universe Peter to be like, get MJ and get get his buddy. And I was in there like Ned, and I was like, and go to college with them and all that stuff. I was really rooting for it too. And then I was
Tom
like,
Holland Spider-Man just can't catch a break.
no, none of them can. Are we kidding? Like all of them, like Peter from the original trilogy is the one who has the best future.
Not wrong. I miss those days. Remember when those movies were coming out brand new and everybody was freaking out over them? And then it just got turned into a bunch of internet memes over time, and there was a Spider-Man musical where somebody got broke their back or something.
Oh, so many people died.
What?
So many people died during that musical.
Oh.
They just kept trying to... People died because of so many accidents with the cables, and they just kept trying to do the musicals, but they kept just so many accidents. There's literally videos talking about how bad things went with this musical on YouTube that you can look up.
I guess I know what I'm doing after this. Holy
Yes.
cow.
I wish I could have seen that.
That is
The
insane.
actual musical.
You wish you could see people die?
The musical, not people dying.
YouTube used to be very Wild Westy about this stuff like that. Like, when I was a teenager, I watched a video of a soccer player who got hit in the head with a soccer ball too hard that his neck snapped. And
Demonetized.
he was.
They're just me saying that.
No,
It's
I know,
demonetized.
right? The soccer player was dead, and his body was still playing the game. Not even kidding. He was still kicking, and he did this weird like rolling thing like over and over and over again. But he was dead. His neck was snapped, and he was like, yeah. And I saw that when I was like 13.
Ugh.
Yeah, I was like, that was my reaction too when I saw it. I was like, ah. So.
I don't like that.
I do believe there's a website where you can look up where there are a bunch of videos of people dying.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you
I
shouldn't
haven't looked.
want to
I
do
haven't
that.
looked. I haven't. I've never looked at that website.
Good.
Oh, there's another video I saw like back in the day where like it was like a backyard brawling thing, like where a bunch of guys got together and they would bet on who would win. It was just they were hanging out in a guy's backyard boxing, bare knuckle boxing, and one dude got punched so hard his eyeball was hanging out.
Ugh.
Yeah,
God.
watched it too. I watched it and I was like, it was like bloody boxing match, and I was like, what is that? Click, and I had no, because the thumbnail just had two guys like like a normal, but they were bare knuckle boxing. They had no fists, no gloves on, and they were just. And the next thing I know, one dude got hit, and his whole like side of his face went like caved in, and then I was dangling.
See, this is why I say women are superior to men.
You definitely live longer.
The intellects.
That's not helping your case, really.
I'm a misandrist. I'm too much of a girl boss to care about word pronunciation.
Oh, okay.
Pronunciation.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut and stay out of this one.
You might want to close. Hey, Mids is here.
Hey.
Need a bonk on the nose.
That's not how we do that. We don't do domestic violence on camera, Carissa. I don't need our video to get suppressed enough as it is. We're talking Spider-Man spoilers. So did you know that William Defoe did? All right, let's get back on task, guys. Did y'all know that William Defoe did most of his stunts for the new Spider-Man movie?
Nope.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, for the Goblin. Sweet. Yeah, he did most of the fighting. And that was just a little fun fact there. And go ahead.
No, I actually didn't get like any of the spoilers for the new movie when I went in.
You didn't get any spoilers?
Everything that happened was a surprise to me. I didn't know it was going to happen.
I saw like leaked footage of like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in the spider costumes, like with a blue screen behind them. But
see, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it was all over Twitter, but people made rumors that it was all fake.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, oh, and then somebody like made a video to make it look like it was fake.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we found out later that no, that footage was real, and that person was just like editing the video to make it look like it came from another movie, so he could say and claim that no, see, it came from this movie, and this footage is actually fake. And it was like it was a whole debacle, and it was like, what? So people weren't sure, was it fake, was it real? We didn't know until we watched the movie. And I honestly, if my conspiracy brain over here, went that's, I bet you that somebody over there, Disney and Sony or whatever, paid for that.
See, I was really excited because I knew I'd seen the only trailer stuff I'd seen. I saw that the Octopus Man was back, so I knew they were doing some form of parallel universe stuff.
Yeah, but you thought maybe it was just going to be the bad guys?
I had seen so many memes over the years of, oh, wouldn't it be funny if the three of them got together and did like the pointing three guy memes. They've done selfies together. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be so great if they did a movie like that? So it just seems so far-fetched because it was something people always wanted, but I'm thinking like, they wouldn't actually give you that. Like, they don't do things like that. Mm-hmm. Oh, so I was genuinely surprised.
Dude, there's gotta be somebody behind the set or like whatever when the cameras weren't rolling that has that photo. That photo better exist. I don't mean Photoshop. I mean, like, there better be an actual photo of Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and the new Tom Holland. All
they just seemed like they were having so much fun with it, like three friends hanging out.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see more of the three of them together.
They
hope they do more movies where the three of them are hanging out, honestly, because it was. Ooh. It really felt like a bunch of brothers having fun.
Dude, you know what they need to do for like for the finality of like when they decide to end the whole Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland? I think a really cool send-off would be if they did a live-action Spider-Verse movie and brought all three of them back, like these guys, right, that we're seeing. And then, like, at the same time, maybe they use this as a way to set up Miles Morales. So we could get Miles Morales Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Because, like, eventually Peter Parker passes the baton to him, kind of, in a way.
I think it would make more sense if, like, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is the one to do that, because his story would line up the most with
Well, the
that
idea is, like, yeah,
the tour.
well, the idea was, like, to say eventually Tom Holland's not going to want to play Spider-Man anymore, so... he made a comment about, like, well, I don't want to be 30 still playing Spider-Man, so. But they could continue it easily with his story, kind of pull from the Ultimate Comics line, have him die. You know what I mean? And Miles Morales come in, and I just think it would be really cool if they did like an Into the Spider-Verse movie, right? And then for Gwen or Spider-Gwen, they had like Emma Stone come back and play Spider-Gwen. Tell me that would not be cool if she played another version of Gwen from another world just wearing the spider outfit. That would be so cool.
She would do a really good job now, but I feel like by the time that would happen, she would be too old. She's already getting close to her 30s. She's older than...
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't look it. She's got one of those baby faces, but still. It'd be kind of weird watching her have, like, a high school romance now versus, like, 10 years ago. Unless when they want to go movies came out.
Yeah, which actually in the comic books, Spider-Gwen and Miles had kind of had a thing there for a minute. I don't know about that, but they had like a connection there for a minute, like they flirting, I guess would be what I would call it. It was kind of like mild flirting. I don't know.
God, so much awkward, weird.
Oh yeah, there's like also like there's an alternate universe too where like Miles and Gwen end up together. Like it's not the Miles Morales we know and the Spider-Gwen we know. It's a completely different setup with those two, but they were like in another universe. They're both spider people and they have like a whole spider people family. I'm not even kidding. Like with a handful of kids with the same powers they have and everything.
One thing I love about this movie is that like eventually like 3 movies like all the way like from Homes, it was eventually a setup to create the final like friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that we see in the comics.
Yeah.
Which I think it was pretty interesting. Cause like eventually like we just like the first like 2 movies eventually like just like like being like a apprentice to Stark, eventually like looking to be the new Iron Man. And like that's what it was looking like for a while. But then with this movie we finally see him become like the Peter Parker that we all know and loved. The poor guy just trying to get by with a homemade suit.
Yeah. I mean, and let's face it, this Peter was kind of like the only difference between him and like main universe Peter, from like the comic books really, was just kind of how his start is a little different. Like this Peter kind of got thrust into that bigger story. He didn't really want to be like, you know what I mean? Like he was very secretive, very like I'm gonna hide in the shadows type of guy from the get-go. And and then Iron Man had to go, and let's face it, Iron Man's kind of I don't know what the right word is, but he doesn't, as brilliant as he is, he makes a lot of dumb choices.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just kind of like a multiversal, like regardless of what version of Iron Man you have, he just, for a man as intelligent as he is, there are definitely some parts of his brain that are like impulse control. That's what he has trouble with. He saw Spider-Man and went, this gives me an advantage over Cap. And that's like he needed one with Vision around, but anyway. Like literally that's so he he didn't bother to think about, oh wait, this is a 16-year-old kid who isn't ready to be in the big leagues with other Avengers.
Well, I also think like that like for Tony Stark, I don't think he would have put in Peter if he thought people were going to die. He knew the battle that he was in. He probably thought there was a very little chance that he would end up dying because these are other heroes. They do have their boundaries of not killing
and experience and all that stuff too. So it was very much like, Spider-Man will be fine. He's surrounded by trained adults or experienced adults.
The only person that nearly crossed that line in the battle was Tony himself.
Yeah. I mean, That's real. And then like I think wasn't it technically Vision who accidentally shot Rhodey out of the sky?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vision was trying to take out one of Falcon's wings or something, missed and hit Rhodey.
Yep.
Yeah, that's if I recall right. But yeah, so Vision messed up and he's like, "Oh crap!" And then of course Falcon saves him. Doesn't Falcon save him or try to save him or something like I can't remember.
I think so.
Yeah. And then of course that also shows you the character of Falcon. That to me that's one of the reasons why I'm so glad Sam Wilson's going to be the Captain America instead of Bucky. I know a lot of people online were very upset about that, but I think we know why they were upset. It's not
Captain
because
America's Hawaii.
yeah, pretty much. So but like it really speaks to Sam's character. He's like, hey, we're in the middle of a battle, but I'm not gonna let this guy fall to his death potentially. You know what I mean? It just speaks to his character, and I like that about him. Anyway, back to Spider-Man. Aunt May's death was very much left field for me. I did not see that one coming at all. I thought if anyone was going to get it, I thought MJ or Ned was going to get it.
They definitely picked one of the most favorited characters by the internet. I constantly see, like, hot Aunt May memes all over Facebook. So it felt a little bit deliberate. Like, they were going, like, okay, who's, like, the most beloved character in this new lineup? And they're like, oh, Aunt May? Okay, cool, let's kill her.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, oh, okay. That felt unnecessary.
Yeah.
I'm always an Uncle Ben fan, so I was kind of like sad that Aunt May became the Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was like established that Uncle Ben did the whole with great power comes great responsibility.
It's a different universe.
Yeah.
I like the Aunt May because I feel like I'm somebody who is not like my first niece was born when I was 12. So I could very easily see myself in one of those situations where if, like, say something happened to one of my siblings, I would take, like, their kid underneath my wing. And I definitely related to a lot of the dynamic and, like, the awkwardness of you're not mom, but still, like, you have a parental responsibility and trying to, like, toe that line. Because he's, like, he's not quite an adult yet, but he's getting there and trying to
Well, Peter also does kind of view his Aunt May as like his mom. Like it's kind of established that in a lot of the universes where he's raised by Aunt May and Uncle Ben, he very much views them like his parents up here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like because like in a lot of the stories, like he's too young to remember his actual parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I very much get that vibe. Like, of course, like this Aunt May is far younger than the ones we're used to. So I'm thinking like. This would be like, oh, well, she's probably the only surviving relative or something, and it was probably her and Ben. And also, one of the other things that I was thinking about is, you know how they always say, well, Uncle Ben used to say that, right? And then he's like, I thought it was kind of implied that that's where Aunt May got it. Like, she got it from Uncle Ben, and maybe Uncle Ben died before that point, and before this Spider-Man heard it, so he associated it with Aunt May, but... I don't know. That's just the implication I got from it. I don't know if that's actually how they're doing it. I don't know, but I kind of like that idea that like Uncle Ben said it, she heard it, he passed, and then she said it to him, kind of like a secession, if you will.
Yeah. I think it was nice because she's an aunt, and so I agreed with the stance that it makes sense to not have her be like a grandma age.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the name. And once again, I was really able to relate to that dynamic of being close in age, but not that much older. I think also it makes the death a lot more gripping because she is so young. She's probably barely 40, and she had so much of her life ahead of her.
Yeah.
And I think that makes the death much more upsetting. Not that it doesn't matter if an old person dies, but it's like they're going to die soon anyways, whereas she had...
She had at least another 40 years.
Yeah, yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And it just feels so senseless, but
yeah. Of course, with the villain who did it, I mean, it kind of makes a little bit of sense. I mean, the Goblin has always been the most ruthless out of Spider-Man's rogue gallery, so it does kind of make sense that he would cross that line.
Yeah.
Can I just say how amazing William Defoe was as returning as Goblin?
Yeah.
It really didn't feel like any time passed with the villains from the original. They didn't
Yeah.
look different. They had that same energy they had in the originals, which I thought was really cool.
I'm just surprised
didn't
Eddie
feel like
Brock
you were
didn't
watching,
show
like,
up
a
because
20
he
year
was there. You know what I mean? Like that Eddie from that other universe. I'm surprised he... You know what I mean? Of course, that also doesn't make sense for him to be there with the spell. So... You know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, how the hell did he get here? He doesn't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Think about it. It doesn't make sense because this Eddie's never met Peter Parker or Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So why is he there?
I think it was just a way to bring in Venom.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I remember the little drop of goop in the end credit scene.
Oh.
Yeah. Just a way to bring
Oh,
Venom.
Going back to Green Goblin.
Yeah.
I think he was much more ruthless in this movie
Oh, yeah.
than the first one.
I agree.
Like, he was so much more vindictive.
Oh,
He
yeah.
wanted to truly break Spider-Man.
And he really, like... I mean, he crossed some lines that I don't think his original self would have crossed. He definitely went further. I agree with you there.
And in the first movie, he was a good fighter, but in this movie, he just kicked Spider-Man's absolute ass.
Oh yeah, and Spidey's and you could tell this Peter's very much trying to hold back because he still just sees this fractured person. You know what I mean? So he's not hitting him as hard as he actually can. And he's getting his ass whooped for it. It's you know what I mean? His mercy. Goblin is really using Peter's mercy against him on this one. It's very...
Oh, and he outwitted Doctor Strange, too.
Yeah, putting a bomb in the thing that would have sent them all home. Yeah, that was pretty clever.
Yes.
I didn't even see that coming at all. I was like, what the... Oh. And then, Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm bringing it to a next part, so you can
go ahead. Next part.
Since the introduction of Goblin to this movie,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there's ever going to be another Green Goblin in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just going to skip over that and bring it over to Hobgoblin.
I'm okay with that.
Yes. I'm kind of hoping it's Ned.
Oh no, not Ned. Ned needs to be a good guy. He's the next Huang.
Because the actor who plays Ned, he has stated that he wants to be a villain. I think he's talking about being Hobgoblin.
That would be interesting.
In the movie, he directly tells Peter, "I promise I won't turn evil and fight against you and try to kill you." That's foreshadowing. And 3, in the comics, a character's named Ned did in fact turn into the Hobgoblin.
Right. I can't remember if it's the original or the guy he duped into being the Hobgoblin, but yeah, because there's a story I know where the Hobgoblin actually doesn't show himself at first. He's more of the mastermind behind all the stuff, and he brainwashed a bunch of guys to think that they were him to be and made them take the drug that makes the Goblin. And fun fact, the Hobgoblin's just actually evil. He perfected the Green Goblin serum. So basically, he's not crazy. He's just evil. The serum doesn't do that. So that's the funny thing about the Hobgoblin serum that's different from the Green Goblin. And the Hobgoblin serum literally puts him on the same level as Captain America physically. So he literally, think about that. The guy who perfected Norman's serum in the comic books literally has still to this day in the comics is canon, has the chemical to make super soldiers. All up here.
Oh, wow.
He really knows how to make it, but nobody knows about it but him. Nobody knows that the Hobgoblin knows that except for the audience and the Goblin himself.
It's imagine Ned going off to MIT, learning a bunch of different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The actor who does that, he's lost a lot of weight. So imagine if he starts lifting weights,
Gets
and
bulky.
eventually he comes into the movie, and he's super brainy, super strong, and somehow eventually becomes a Hobgoblin and becomes a possible enemy to Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Ooh, what if because he can't remember Tom Holland's Spider-Man, maybe that's the reason why he becomes a villain, because Parker's not an active part of his life. Or maybe it's
What?
because he feels betrayed. Like maybe he gets his memories back and he's like, no, you didn't come back and talk to me, so now I hate you.
I don't think he would do that.
No, you
I'm
think
not sure.
that's you don't think he's
I
not
think
petty
he.
enough?
I think Ned loves Peter too much.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
I have
Carissa.
a theory. I know it's probably the lamest one, and they wouldn't go with this, but I picture it. So, Spider-Man, he ends up choosing to not go back to his girlfriend and confess everything. He ends up letting that go. He pulled a Winter Soldier from the Winter Soldier and Black Woman comic book.
Mm-hmm.
So, what if during that time we already know her and his friend Ned are friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going about as if they never remembered him. They fall in love and they start to grow a relationship, and then he finally does choose to go back, gives her proof that they were in a relationship, and finds a way to help her remember.
Mm-hmm. And then
And
that
Ned becomes
causes
addictive.
I
Ned to
mean,
go dark side.
I've seen guys go evil for less. So I feel like that would make a lot more sense, especially if he does end up becoming beefy and stuff and is more of a typical rival.
Yeah.
Because that was the original dynamic in the Spider-Man from like when I was a kid, was the two best friends who end up fighting over the high school girl.
Yeah.
Harry Osborn.
And I know that's kind of lame, like love triangle, but I'm just saying, like, to me, that seems to make a lot of sense for the setup they're going for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would literally be repeating the same story they did before, but that was my instant thought when you said that.
Yeah.
Or I wonder maybe if like the Osborns are in this universe. Like imagine if Peter Parker goes to college and meets Harry Osborn, and his father is the CEO of a tech company.
But maybe we just skip the Green Goblin thing and go straight to Hobgoblin with Ned.
Yes, it's like Norman Osborn. He works with a bunch of chemicals, and Harry gets into some of this stuff and becomes a Hobgoblin.
That's
Like
another route they could take.
Like we've seen with J. Jonah Jameson, like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, he was like J. Jonah Jameson. He was just a regular like news person, like in New York. But in this universe, he is like an Alex Jones type person.
Yeah.
Just so it wouldn't be much of a stretch to change that a bit.
Yeah, like, and that's another thing. Like, also, did you notice like this Green Goblin, like when he broke his mask, his costume became more of like a hobgoblin look as opposed to the Green Goblin. I did notice that, like, you know, because no offense, but William Defoe does kind of look a little creepy. Like,
yeah, I thought that just ditching the mask altogether was a better look. It was a lot scarier than the original. The original looked very cartoony and silly.
But he was the green. He was a green. That was like his alter ego was the Green Goblin. So,
yeah.
I mean, there was only so many ways they could do that. Like in the comic books, like there was a few times where like his green skin and stuff was a transformation, and then other times it was a rubber mask. So it's just kind of like, you know,
yeah.
There's only a handful of ways to make that look cool, IRL. But also, like, I think we're ready for some villains we haven't seen on the big screen yet. Like, who's ready for Scorpion to be on the big screen? You know, I mean, we haven't seen him, and he'd be the perfect villain.
I am. I'm ready.
There you go. Because, like, the Scorpion's, like, physically stronger than Spider-Man. So there's, like, that. And then, like, his high tech versus Spider-Man's low tech now. So it's very interesting on that route. I mean, like, and the Stinger has had all sorts of different weapons in it. Like, so... Also, like, there's the whole Sinister Six they're kind of setting up. Remember?
Yep.
We haven't forgot.
I forget. Which of the six are in Sinister Six? I forget.
So far, we've got Vulture, Michael Morbius, and I think Shocker, is who we've got so far. Because, and Scorpion. Because we've been introduced into, what's his name, Matt Gargan or whatever. Like, he was in the first Spider-Man No Way Home. He just didn't have any cool weapons yet. And then, of course, we have the first guy that got killed was by Vulture was going by Shocker, and then the guy picked up his weapons. Is like, now I'm the Shocker. So yeah, we have a Shocker. We just don't have him in the black and yellow costume yet. Yeah, so
hopefully characters. Oh, have you seen Hawkeye?
yes, I've been watching Hawkeye.
They finally introduced Kingpin.
Yes, that was another thing that everyone was like. I remember being in the theater, and when we all saw a Daredevil catching,
Yes.
being Spider-Man's lawyer, the whole theater went, "Oh!"
Yeah, ours did too.
Yeah, it was.
That was the one thing nice about a packed theater was the reactions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was the best thing as ever, was like listening to other people in the audience just freak out, like especially when they showed Andrew Garfield for the first time. Did they freak out?
Yeah. Oh.
He comes through. Yeah. And honestly, I thought it was Tom Holland, Peter. Honestly, when they were calling to him, Peter, I thought it was him. Honestly, I really did. And then he was all like, they ripped the mask off, and I was like, oh shit. That's not.
See, it was a genuine surprise to me because I didn't think that they were gonna do that. Like, I didn't think that. I don't know. It's so hard to set up those type of things and get the rights to the different companies and stuff. So when I saw that they actually brought them into it, I was like, holy cow! Like.
Well, the truth is like all three of the trilogies are owned by the same company. They're just reboots.
See, I didn't realize that. I thought it was owned by different people. So I thought, like, oh, that would be such a pain in the butt. Like.
Actually, truth be told, Sony actually owns enough properties that they could make a whole line of superhero movies based just around Spider-Man. Like, they own, like, there's a bunch they own. Like, they also own, like, the Silver Sable. She's very similar to the Black Widow. We got Michael Morbius, who kind of rides the line. We got Black Cat. We've got there was a list somewhere online of a bunch of characters they have, and there's also a bunch of like villains that kind of ride the line, like Sandman, for example. So really, if Sony just decided they didn't want to work with Marvel, really, they could make their own Avengers team based just off of people that are out of Spider-Man's comics alone. Because also the funny thing is, they don't just have Peter Parker; they also have all the other ones too. They got access to Miles. They got access to Gwen. They got access to what's his name, O'Hare from the future, 2099.
Wasn't there a trailer for the Into the Spider-Verse 2 or something?
Yeah, there was on Twitter, I think I saw where O'Hare meets Miles,
where they're fighting.
Yeah. I think it'd be more funny, like, when they figure out they're not enemies. And I actually saw this on TikTok, and I kind of like this idea because, again, I like pissing off bigots. I want to have a whole conversation where they just talk to each other in Spanish.
Ooh, that was something I liked about Westside Story that they didn't do in the original. When it was just the Puerto Ricans with each other, they would talk in Spanish towards each other, and you didn't have to necessarily know what they were saying. They didn't use subtitles or anything, because you could tell what the emotion of the scene was.
Mm-hmm.
Not important, but it just made me think about that they actually took the time to because that makes more sense.
No, I just would think it would be fun to watch a bunch of white people get pissed off. I don't know what it is, but like, I don't know why, but nerdy racist, like, or they have the, what do you call it? They are the most, like, bad.
Malicious?
Well, I want to say they're not. I wouldn't say they're most malicious, but what they're the worst at as far as racists go, I think nerdy racists are the worst at hiding it. You know what I mean? Like, because they complain about everything. They complain about women characters. They complain about Hispanic, the Asian, Black. Like, no matter what kind of character it is, they complain about it, and they find something. And then here's the thing, and here's how you can tell this is the thing, is like, it's some nonchalant thing that's like their critique of the character is something that several other white characters do or have, and they're the type of person that never says anything about it. Like, how they always talk about Captain Marvel's name is just overconfident and, bitchy or whatever, and I'm like, military background? Hello? How many people?
That's also just a lot like Iron Man.
Yeah. Kind of arrogant. Yeah, that's the word. They call her arrogant, but I'm like, but Tony's arrogant. Nobody ever talks about that. Nobody complains about that because it's
Civil War II Captain America. Sorry, Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, the comic books. Yeah, absolutely. I had to think about
No, that's Captain Marvel I don't like.
I was like, yeah, but like the critique is like they're aimed at Captain Marvel, like in the movies. They call her arrogant and stuff like that, or overconfident. And I'm like, you realize, like, guys, she's like the Superman of this particular Marvel universe, right? She's probably the physically strongest Avenger right now.
Yeah.
Physically speaking. And let's face it.
I wonder how.
Go ahead.
With how powerful she is, like, she is super powerful. I wonder how that's going to work with the second Captain Marvel movie.
Well, we're gonna have what's her name? What's her name? I think Ion or something like that. There's and then Ms. Marvel, so it's like it's called like the Marvels or something like that. It's gonna have all three of the main Marvel, because what's her name? The black woman who gets her powers from the Scarlet Witch in the WandaVision at the end.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. Oh, it's gonna bother me now. I'm pulling up Google. Let's see. There we go. What's her name? Monica Rambeau. There we go. That's her name. Monica Rambeau she was Captain Marvel in the comic books for a minute there too. So basically the next Marvel movie is supposed to have Monica Rambeau. It's supposed to have the current Captain Marvel, and it's going to have Kamala Khan's Miss Marvel, and they're all supposed to be in the same movie, and it's something the Marvels. I can't remember. But yeah, the three of them are supposed to stop something. But their powers are all a little different. Like, even Monica's powers aren't exactly the same as Carol's. I could not remember her Danvers. I could not remember her name for the life of me there for a minute. You know? But their powers are a little different. Like, obviously, like we saw in the WandaVision, like, she went intangible for a minute there. That's kind of more like a vision-based power. So, like, and she still was, like, able to absorb energy and things like that. So it's really interesting to see how these, like, we have, like, this person who's like, oh, I can absorb energy. And then you have a person who seems to generate it endlessly. And then you're going to have like, the rumor is that she's either going to have tech-based powers and then eventually we'll have her stretchy, or she's going to have the stretchy ones and they're just Marvel is messing with us. Because they do that.
Meh.
I mean, I'm hoping that they'll give Ms. Marvel her actual powers, but that's just, that's just us. Although, speaking of Marvel giving us what we asked him for, I mean, I think they really did it with this Spider-Man movie. They kind of gave us everything we wanted.
Yes.
And then some. We got a mature Tom Holland Spider-Man, which is what people were talking about. They were tired of teenage Tom Holland Spider-Man. We've got what do we call it? We got Andrew and Toby coming back and being Spider-Man. And then we got, like, all these different villains, and there's tons of setup now. They've hinted at Scorpion, they've hinted at Venom, they've hinted at the Hobgoblin. And we already know that there's a Sinister Six movie on the way, so it's going to be really interesting to see. And then, of course, you're going to have, like, characters who kind of ride the line, like Venom and Michael Morbius, who ride the line between villain and hero. So, maybe Pete ends up turning them back to the good guys team, because Michael Morbius actually is very much, like, he's kind of a good guy in the comic books. Like, he's been a villain before, but, like, in the comic books, he does eventually go good guy.
Imagine Flash Thompson with Venom.
Oh my god, that's what we need. We need Agent Venom so bad. That's what we need. We need Agent Venom. That would be so cool. Only, oh man, that would be so cool. Could you imagine? Or if we got like, what's his name? There's like that kid in the Spider-Man cartoons who he found Spider-Man's Iron Spider armor, and he basically was just Iron Man with the Iron Spider armor. It was kind of funny. There's a Spider-Man cartoon where, like, in like season 2, it was like a bunch of off-brand Spider-Man basically. You got we gotta get the Scarlet Spider in there too.
Yeah.
That's another one that we need to see on the big screen. Like, come on, we all need to see. Like, go ahead.
I kind of want to see another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie after watching this new movie,
Ooh,
because like the way his acting and like the way like how he talked about what happened after the Amazing Spider-Man 2,
yeah,
I
yeah,
kind of want to see more of him.
yeah. You want to see
Because
this him getting sloppy and not pulling his punches type of thing that you mentioned?
I just want to see another movie of him because his Spider-Man, I think it's improved.
One
Like
of
with the way
I don't
that
think
this
it was
movie.
that bad, to be honest.
I
I
know.
don't know
I don't
why.
think.
I liked his. I was really surprised when they canceled it.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
canceled
too.
the
Well, the thing is, like, I think
I
one of
think
the reasons.
people were just too mad, like, and I get it. Like, Emma Watson was amazing. They had great chemistry, but I think that's what made it work was because they set up a really good heartbreak. We got to see like this perfect, adorable love story develop over 2 movies.
No.
Whereas if they just killed a random character that didn't matter, it wouldn't have mattered, you know?
Yeah. Also, Gwen Stacy's
Also,
death
I
is
think it.
a. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's okay.
I was gonna say, Gwen Stacy's death is a very pivotal thing for Spider-Man. It's like the second most pivotal death in his history, uh,
Yeah.
behind Uncle Ben, because like for a long time in the comic books, Gwen Stacy was Peter Parker's partner, and then when she died, it's a big heavy thing. And so it made sense that in this movie, when they did finally kill her, that it would be this big heavy thing. And also a lot of people were mad about Andrew Garfield's portrayal of Spider-Man in these movies, but at the
I
time,
didn't get that.
oh
I thought
yeah,
it was great. They both seemed like fun, goofy. Was it because he was too attractive?
yeah,
Because it's like, was
that's
that really
that
the
was
whole thing was that he was too attractive?
yeah. They here's the
I
thing,
don't.
they're thinking about like Peter Parker in like the 1950s comics or whatever, like the early or not 50s, but you know I think he's 60s or something like that in his early day comics. But they didn't bother to take into the fact that, like, if you look in the 90s, Peter Parker was never drawn as an ugly, nerdy guy. He was the reason
We
why
already
he
got
was.
ugly, nerdy Peter Parker, though. It's a different movie.
Yeah, but, like, the point that is like, Peter Parker wasn't really an ugly, nerdy guy. He was very much. He was always conventionally attractive for his time frame. That was the way
Yeah.
he was drawn. And the thing is like, the reason why Peter is, like, not is disliked by a lot of people in the comic books is because of his attitude, the way he interacts with other people. So it's a little bit of his own fault. The reason why he's kind of a loner is because of the way he treats people, and the other part of it is like also like women are attracted to Spider-Man. And I don't mean like to Peter Parker in the comic books, like that. And so that was another thing. Like, people like to act like he's like, are you kidding me? Do you know how many women he has dated in the comic books? Oh my god, that dude is a hoe. Peter Parker is a hoe. I'm not kidding. He has slept with Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy, Black Cat. Let's see here. Oh, what's her name? Something Canary, or whatever. Like, I think it's the chick that's technically Hawkeye's wife. Yeah, in the comic books, he slept with her. Like, and there's a variety of others. Oh, there's also the character Silk. Yeah, she's a girl who got bit by the same spider that bit Peter. Yeah, he got with her for a long time. In fact, when he gets with her, he can't help himself. Yeah, fun fact. It's like literally in the comic books they have to keep a certain distance from each other because if they get too close, they end up boinking. Yeah, something about spiders and their hormones. Basically, the writers just made it to where like they couldn't control themselves. Yeah,
I'm gonna leave that on the table. I'm not gonna comment on that.
it's because you don't have enough
Um,
information, isn't it?
the topic gives me very confused emotions, and I don't like it.
Well, it's not that they don't like each other. They do like each other as people. It's just that like it's not good for them, kind of thing. I don't know. And also like the way they in the comic books also like Peter kind of like unintentionally cheats on like Mary Jane with Silk. not wanting to, but he couldn't help himself because his brain and his body are like, no, no, no. See, she is Spider Person. Mate with the Spider Person. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of like that. It's very like primal, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more animalistic than it is like a conscientious thing.
I got it. I got it.
Okay, I just was making sure. I didn't know. You're not leaving me with a lot of information. I don't know where your head's at the moment. So you're just giving me the disgusted look, like I'm the one who wrote it or something.
No, the perverts who wrote it are what I'm concerned about.
I hate to break
I
this to
feel
you,
like
Carissa,
somebody
but a lot of
out-perverted
comic book
me,
writers are
and
perverts. I'm sorry to break this to you. Come on,
I feel like I need to go rewatch the Twilight trilogy. Like
Why?
her conservatism.
I'm pretty sure that it's.
I need
that's more toxic.
It is, but there's a lot more slut shaming.
You need more slut shaming.
Um,
Are you mad because Peter Parker
but
is
anyway,
a hoe?
we're talking about the Spider-Man from the second movie trilogy.
Yeah. Andrew
I
Garfield.
really loved the scene where he got to save Tom Holland's girlfriend.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done. It broke my heart, just like seeing the panic because he's getting like PTSD. I thought that was such a nice moment.
When he rescues her, you can see the relief on his face.
Scene in the movie. Yeah, that was my favorite scene.
Like he was just like you can almost see it almost feels like this might sound weird, but I feel like Andrew Garfield probably almost actually teared up because you can almost see it in his eyes. Like he's just kind of like, you know what I mean? I didn't fuck up this time. Like it's almost written on his face. It's
that's gotta be terrifying.
Yeah. And he's just like, it's like literally like written on his face. Like he's so relieved. He's like, I didn't fuck up this time. I didn't fuck up this time. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, but like to me, that's probably what he thinks every time he looks back at that situation. He's just all like, I could have done it better. I could have done it better. I could have done.
It's a reflex moment, and I think that's what makes it so upsetting. Because it would be so easy, if it was just done this much different. So I thought that was such a good little scene. They didn't like drag it on too long. I don't know. I just thought it was good character development.
Oh, I remember I saw people in the Theorio, like when before the movie came out, people were trying to figure out like what happened and making predictions and stuff. I remember I saw one TikToker who kind of got a little bit mad about the idea of Andrew Garfield saving MJ. Like he did. Yeah, and the reason why is because they were like, well, he doesn't need to redeem himself. You know what I mean? He's a superhero is like their argument. And I'm like, it's not about that, whether he actually needs to or not. It's like the idea is to say like, it would be a personal win for that Peter Parker is why people wanted to see it.
Yeah. It was, it's about like facing your demons.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
You know what I also thought was really this is something we haven't brought up yet. I liked the dynamic between the three of them, like how they talked about like how I always wanted brothers, and they very much acted so like that.
Great. I loved watching the three different generations. You can really see like the age differences, but how all of them are still the same.
Yeah.
It was so great watching that interaction, and I like the idea of getting to see adult and teenager and they just seemed like they were great pals, and I liked that. I liked just seeing them be friends, You know
what? I loved the Andrew Garfield's line where he goes, "Are you going to be going into like a battle dressed up like a cool youth pastor?"
Yeah, it was good.
I was.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then
stuff.
I went to pee once.
Yeah, I did too.
You got popcorn. You got soda at the beginning, and I'm just like, "Hey, buddy, the movie's starting. What are you doing?"
It was a long line, okay?
Yeah, but like, I don't know why you were getting up at all. I had to save your seat for you. Somebody's gonna steal it.
Because I was thirsty.
You gotta take care of the stuff beforehand. You can't go in with an empty mind when you're going to see a Marvel movie. The theater is vicious. It gives me high anxiety to go in to see a Marvel movie because everybody is violent.
Especially on screen. I mean, what? But
Just saying.
Yeah. I don't know why I've been seeing comments online about how Andrew Garfield kind of stole the show, and I was like, yeah, I kind of see it. Like the second he got on screen, he's got a very big presence.
Tobey Maguire giving confidence to Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Yeah, that was just, oh my goodness. And then like,
you are amazing. You are amazing.
They were, yeah. I really would
great.
love to just see a spin-off series where they're not like doing anything. They're just all hanging out like at a coffee shop, just doing whatever. I feel like that would be great. You know, kind of like the How It Should Have Ended series. I just want that for the three of them.
Also, like, you know what I thought was really cool is like how these like, all right, like, so for Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are very much like experienced superheroes, right? Mm-hmm. At this point in their story, right? But they don't act like the other experienced superheroes from like Tom's universe, right?
Yeah, because they don't have teams and stuff.
Right. That's not what I mean. We'll get to that. We'll get to that point. That's a great point to bring up. That's not what I'm talking about though. What I mean is like, you know how like Tom is like very huggy with them, and they're very like, encouraging to each other. It was very much like. That was what I was thinking was interesting, is like how they weren't afraid to like for example, the oldest Peter wasn't afraid to go to Andrews. Toby's Peter wasn't afraid to go to Andrews and say like, no, you're great. What are you talking about? You're amazing. Although that was a funny kind of pun, because he's the amazing Spider.
Yeah.
But like, it was just kind of a funny moment, because it's like, I see what you did there. But like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't act like the other adult superheroes in these universes, where it's like they're very kind of calloused. Like, you know, like if you look at the way, like, think about how Spider-Man gives Tony a hug, and he's like, I'm not trying to hug you, I'm trying to open the door. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm getting at, is like Toby's Peter Parker is not as callous as I felt Doctor Strange or Tony Stark is in this universe.
Yeah.
They're very hard men.
Yeah.
And they do soften up, obviously, over time. Like, obviously, when Strange sees what Peter's about to give up, he softens at the end there. You know what I mean? And then, of course, Tony, like, the first thing that he does when Peter is back is he gives him a hug, because he's just so happy that Peter's back, that reversing the snap worked. You know? But you get what I'm saying, like, you know, so these men did soften up, and they do have a very human side that they eventually are like, this is a good person, I shouldn't be callous with them. It's just interesting to see that Tobey Maguire's character, who should be the most callous, I think, out of the three of them, isn't. Because he's lost the most at that point, I think, of the three of them, I think.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's... I don't know. That's the point that I was getting at, is like, I was saying that he's not like the other heroes. Although the teamwork thing you're bringing up, though, was great. I loved that. Especially how they started taking the youngest Spider-Man, letting him lead. Yeah,
he's giving the orders. I thought that was fun.
I don't really know this, but I'm part of the Avengers. The Avengers? What is that?
Is that a rock band? Are you in a band?
Are you part of a band?
Which also is kind of a reference to Gwen Stacy a little bit there. Yeah, because she's in a band in her universe. She's the drummer. And Mary Jane's the lead singer. Fun fact. Yeah, in Gwen Stacy's original universe, Peter Parker is the Lizard.
Oh. Yeah, I knew about that.
Yeah, and then she's also part of a band, and she's the drummer. And Mary Jane is the lead singer, and they're a punk rock band. Yeah.
Interesting.
I hear lesbians?
You can only hope. I mean, with a multiverse out there now.
But maybe lesbians?
Going to the after credits of Spider-Man No Way Home, do we think that the evil Doctor Strange is the one from What If?
Yeah, I think so. And I don't think he's evil. I think he's just, you know, haggard looking.
It makes it look like he's evil with the way he's talking to the Doctor Strange.
Yeah, but like I saw that Doctor Strange in What If, and he doesn't give me the I'm evil vibe. He just looks that way to me. Like,
do you think that if he could get the MCU Doctor Strange to like force him to take over, like holding in the Ultron and the other guy into an alternate dimension. Do you think that he wouldn't try to do that?
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a. I mean, he was very much at the end of the What If series. He was very much like, this is my penance type of thing. So I can't really see a character who's like trying to make up for his wrongs. You know what I mean? Just trying to like pull a, what's his name, an Atlas Hercules situation and say, no, you hold this.
I personally, I do not think that he's the same What If guy.
He may not be. He just may be an evil version. Like, because obviously there's a multiverse now, so like he may just be an evil Doctor Strange.
Yeah, so like the What If Doctor Strange, like he had to continuously focus on holding them in. Otherwise Ultron and whatever his name is, would be released and wreak havoc on the multiverse.
Of course, that could also be how they could give us another Black Panther potentially. Although personally, if they're going to do that, I would prefer Shuri over a Killmonger Black Panther.
I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I think honestly, that's what I think is the best course of action, because, I mean, Chadwick Boseman is such a hard act to follow, and the only way that I think it could work is to let Shuri take over the mantle of Black Panther. Because, and plus, like, instead of trying to recast Chadwick or get like a voice impersonator and just never show him with his face, you know what I mean? Or something like that. And I know that I've heard rumors that the second Black Panther movie is going to be more about Wakanda itself and less about the Black Panther. So I don't really know how that's going to work. I'm just saying that like I would be perfectly fine with a female Black Panther. And like I said,
I think it makes sense if the sister took over.
She's so brilliant. Like, it just, like, she's smarter than Tony Stark in this universe. Like, it just makes sense that she would be like, oh, I don't have to be the strongest. I'm smarter than you.
Yes.
Like, she literally probably knows how to, like, fight people's, like, pressure points or something and just, watch some dude go, yeah. Like, see, I didn't have to be stronger than you. I just, like, thumbed your pressure point and you passed out. You big gorilla. I'm just kidding. But, yeah. What's his name? M'Baku or whatever. Because like that's what he is. He's like the white ape or whatever in the comic books. That was like his hero name, or something like, or villain name. I don't remember. But yeah, he looked like in the comic books. He looked like a half man, half gorilla dude. Anyway, the point that I'm getting at is like I would love to see that fight scene too. Just him just throwing punches left and right, like if they would hit, they would hurt like heck, and she's just like, nope. And then he's just sitting there like, why can't I move? And she's like, pressure points.
Oh, that just makes me think of the Cobra Kai season 3.
Oh, I haven't even watched the Cobra Kai show at all.
Oh, you haven't? Oh my god, it's amazing. I love it.
I watched Karate Kid as a kid. I just didn't.
Oh, it's amazing. It does the original series right.
Okay, well maybe I'll check it out. It is something that it does look good. I just haven't had time. You know what I mean? And
it's on Netflix. It's amazing.
And I prioritize like superheroes and magic stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like if it was Cobra Kai or The Witcher. Sorry,
understandable. But Cobra Kai is amazing too.
Anyway, what is there anything else that we can think of for the Spider-Man stuff? What's something you guys want to see happen in a future Spider-Man movie?
Everybody be friends.
I was expecting Krista to say she wanted lesbian spider people, but
Oh, I already said that.
We want you Gwen Stacy in Silk instead of Peter Parker in Silk. That's what you want.
Well, maybe at some point, like eventually, the role's like inevitably gonna be brought off to Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Maybe in like one of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, we get a small hint of Miles Morales' uncle being that one villain.
Yeah, the Prowler. That would be cool.
Prowler.
Yeah. Also, that's another thing. The Prowler is another one of those characters who's rid the line between hero and villain. You know what I mean? Like, that's just in the comic books. Like, yeah, he's Miles' uncle, right? But like in the main universe, he was a good guy, or the second one was a good guy, and the first one was a villain. Very much like Frogman. Which, by the way, if Marvel ever is gonna hire me for a superhero, I'm just saying, let me be Frogman. I think it'd be hilarious. I can play the big dumb fat guy who's happened to find a bulletproof rubber suit. Come on, let me do it, Marvel. It'll be funny.
Oh, maybe a Spider-Man fight Kingpin.
Ooh, oh, like in that one comic where Aunt May almost dies and he beats the snot out of him. Oh my gosh, I would love to watch that. Just sitting there watching tiny Tom Holland just beating the crap out of Kingpin.
I would love to see the Kingpin from Daredevil, if that is like the one from the MCU now, because it was kind of blurry.
Did you not read the credits at the end of that scene?
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, it's the same actor.
Okay, sweet.
He's literally credited as Kingpin, so
he's literally the best Kingpin I've ever seen. So I do want to see him fight Spider-Man.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Oh my gosh, dude, that's another thing. I want Daredevil to be in a Spider-Man movie.
That too.
I need that to happen. Dude, that's how they should take out the Sinister Six. Spidey should call for backup, and then like you could introduce like Black Cat and like Daredevil, a bunch of like street level heroes. Oh, how cool would it be if that's how Spider-Man beats the Sinister Six? Is he calls for help, right? And he gets the Defenders.
Oh.
How cool would that be? Like, you get Spider-Man and the Defenders against the Sinister Six. I mean, how cool would that be? Like, you could
that would be awesome.
Yeah, you could see, like, Luke Cage squaring up with, like, the Rhino. You know what I mean? Let's see.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you could have, like, Kingpin getting it from Spidey and Daredevil at the same time or something. That would be so cool.
Now, next I'm wondering, I wonder if Daredevil is gonna get a movie or just another TV series.
I'm leaning towards the TV series is my bet, but it'll definitely be more integrated into the MCU, just like the Disney Plus ones are. Like, you'll see characters kind of go back and forth.
Yeah, because the MCU Daredevil, he's different from like the TV show, like
yeah.
Kevin Feige or whatever his name is. Like, he said that the shows are not canon.
That's all right. They can just serve as backstory anyway. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like, oh, it's kind of like, you know how we didn't need another movie with showing Spider-Man's origin? It can just, the Netflix shows can just serve as that. If you need to know this character's origin, go watch the Netflix show.
I'm just wondering, at the point of the Spider-Man movie, I'm wondering if he is Daredevil or if he's not, because he just said that he's just a really good lawyer.
Yeah. I mean, he's Matt Murdock. We know that much.
So I can be able to do that.
We already know he's Matt Murdock. You know what I mean? He's not just some random blind lawyer. So
yeah,
we know that much. So my guess is he is Daredevil. What they're probably just going to do is give him like a similar backstory and probably throw him in one of the Disney Plus shows. Or maybe give him his own. I don't really know. I mean, the truth is, like, Daredevil's a street level hero anyway. Like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, they're all the Defenders basically. They are street level heroes. They're not like outside of Luke Cage and Spider-Man. Most of those guys are never really seen at the big Avengers battles. Often, I mean, we've seen comic books where Daredevil and Iron Fist are there, but you know what I mean. Like, they're not often part of like the bigger Avengers battles. So,
well, I love them.
I do too. They're just, you know what I mean? It's just like when you've got people like Thanos involved, I'm sorry, but what the heck is Danny Rand gonna do? He's gonna punch Thanos and Thanos will go, "Look, that's all you got? Hit me again, baby. I need to, even that out. I need to get this kink out of my neck." But yeah. I'm trying to think here. Is there anything? Oh, I do have some Marvel news that we can go on before we get on to the next topic, because I know you're going to want to dip before we talk about The Witcher. And
Yeah.
then we'll wrap it up. But the quick Marvel news is they're changing the Punisher's symbol.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
The
So what?
it's still a skull and crossbones, but it's got like horns on it now, kind of thing.
Huh.
They're also like the new artwork has him with this new symbol, and now he's got like swords and stuff on him instead of like guns. I think they're giving him like a whole new, like, remember how like Frank Castle went through like a Frankenstein phase for a minute there in the Marvel universe?
I think.
Yeah, there was like a Frankencastle, and he was temporarily on like Shield's like supernatural task force for a little while there. Yeah, that's a thing that actually happened to Frank Castle, and then he slowly turned back into himself again. He was like Frankenstein. He was like literally like bolts and stitches and everything, and he was like super strong and bigger than he normally was, and he slowly like started transforming back. Anyway, it was a thing that happened. Anyway, but yeah, so I think they're doing something similar, but now his symbol's different, and now he's got like swords and stuff instead of guns. It's the artwork I saw, and I was like, man, I could. And the rumor is the reason why they're doing this is because cops keep using the Punisher symbol on their cars to be intimidating.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, and white supremacists are doing it too. Like there's a bunch of Trumpers who have like a Punisher symbol with like Trump's hair on it.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, I know.
I've seen.
Yeah, it is stupid, but it's a thing they do. And so I think Marvel's trying to distance themselves from that by changing the symbol. Although if the Punisher doesn't have some fundamental change, like the type of opponents he faces, like for example, unless they make him like, so for example, he's got like in the artwork I saw, he's got like swords and daggers and stuff on him. Unless he's like fighting like, you know, the Hand or something, like Daredevil and Iron Fist, instead of, you know, gangsters, like they're gonna have to fundamentally change his character in like to where he's like, okay, I've decided that I can't just be fighting gangsters anymore. I gotta go fight this bigger threat, and I gotta fight it with more of a martial arts thing instead of guns.
Yeah.
They're like it's the only way to get him to get Frank Castle further away from like being used as a tool by right-wing extremists. So it's the only way that I can think of. So they're gonna have to like make him ditch the guns, make Frank a completely different, or not different person, but maybe make him pick a different path for his story. Because I mean, the Hand would still make sense. The Hand pisses off not just Daredevil and Iron Fist. They've pissed off Wolverine and Elektra and several other martial arts based heroes. Like even Shang-Chi, I think, is on the list of people the Hand doesn't like. Yeah. And you know you're on the bad guys team if you're on that big of a shit list. I'm just saying, if you're pissing off Shang-Chi, the Iron Fist, Wolverine, Elektra, Daredevil, you know, all these guys have different backgrounds. If you pissed off this many people, I'm just saying. The Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, and the Hand, don't... You pissed off that many people, hero team.
And the 10 Rings still exist now.
Yeah. So, and the 10 Rings in the Hand, they don't agree with each other either. So, like, you know, you got that many factions of people pissed off at you, you probably are the bigger bad guy. Anyway. the point that, anyway, so the point is like, unless they're going to make the Hand, like, the Punisher's new optimal target, it's the only thing I can think of that's going to, and, like, making him go with swords instead of guns is a really good way for him. You know what they really, actually, you know, I have a really, if they weren't already doing this in the Disney Plus show, like, you know how they're introducing the swordsman as, like, maybe possibly a good guy? Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been teasing at the swordsman. You know what I mean? And I think that, as annoying as he is, I have a stinking suspicion that he's actually a good guy. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems too many stuff is aligning to me that he seems framed. You know what I mean?
That's Swordsman King Kit Harington, right?
What's his name? I think that's the name of the swordsman. Let me look him up.
Yeah, it's the guy who played Jon Snow.
Marvels. Oh, I thought you were asking about the swordsman's real name. Like, not the actor.
Oh, no, like the actor.
Yeah, I have no
Yeah,
idea.
the actor.
Marvel. Hold on, I'm trying. Y'all forget, dyslexic here. The swordsman.
Dyslexic.
Yeah.
Zip, zip, zip it.
Yeah, the character's name is Duquesne. Jack, I can't say his name. It's French, I think. And he's his Duquesne, and the actor who's playing him. Let me see here actor. There we go. And the actor is, no, that's not him. Come on. Google, you're being a butthead.
What movie was his character?
Tony Dalton is his name.
Okay.
It's the name of the actor. But anyway.
Was he introduced in any of the movies?
No, he was introduced in Hawkeye only.
Oh, well, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I didn't know it.
Yeah, that's who Duquesne is. He's the superhero.
Oh, now I know.
Yeah, he's the swordsman in the comic books. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know who you're talking about now. Yeah.
I mean, he's not a popular superhero, so I'm not surprised you didn't recognize him right off the bat. But I was gonna say, I don't know. I think right now, Duquesne is dead in 616. I think. So with the Punisher holding all these swords, I think it'd be a really cool idea for him to be the new swordsman.
Yeah.
If they weren't already showing Duquesne in the Hawkeye series, I would think that would be a really great way to have him be portrayed. Anyway.
Yeah, I kind of guessed it like halfway through that the mother was the bad guy.
Yeah, I was kind of, that's what I'm thinking. If she's meeting with Kingpin, I'm thinking she's the bad guy, and that's why she doesn't want Kate being a superhero, is because that would put her on.
Oh no, I guess that she was the bad guy even before the Kingpin reveal.
Really? What made you think that? Like, I had no inclination at all.
It's like, I just had a feeling, like, it was just something, like, if I was a screenwriter, this is something I'd do. Because they directly made it so, like, the swordsman was, like, the bad guy going through backwater steals, and, like, being, like, implied that he killed his uncle or whatever. But I also thought, there's probably a reason for the mother to have killed him also, and she would have had access to the sword.
Yeah. And it just is like, it's very, and also it's like, it explains why she doesn't take Kate seriously when she says, hey, he's messing with you, because I think he's actually, I think he might be an honest character. This might sound weird, but as much as Duquesne in the comic books has a very, like, checkered past, very much like Clint, you know what I mean? Like, they're both circus performers turned superheroes, ex-criminals turned superheroes.
Yeah, when he was getting arrested, he was saying, like,
he was saying that he was
framed. Don't worry, this is all bullshit. I'll be out pretty soon. Okay, don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder. I was like,
yeah, and I'm starting to wonder if he is actually an honest actor in this version of the story. Like, he's a little espionage-y, but maybe he is like Clint. You know what I mean? He's like, oh yeah, I'm just a hero who's been helping in the background, and and I'm stealing from bad people, and that's why I'm rich. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, the way he said it, I didn't think it was coming out of arrogance. I just I felt like he said it in a way it was like, yeah, I did nothing wrong, so I'm not going to worry too much.
Yeah, and I mean, he's rich in this storyline, too, so he very much might be able to, like, yep, don't worry, I got lawyers.
Aw, kitty.
Oh, we have a very angry kitten right now. She is like, stop rubbing my eyeballs! Mom, save me!
Poor baby has an eye infection.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oof, the eyes are gooping. Sorry, she's being noisy. Keep talking.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start talking about The Witcher real quick. So.
And that's the time to go.
All right, so Bogart's gonna leave for a minute, and then we're gonna wrap this up after we talk about The Witcher, because I think we've been talking for way too long.
Sorry, I've been trying to keep up. I've been washing this one's eyes every day, and it still just isn't enough. It's been getting horrible eye infections. The other siblings are fine. One of them doesn't have anything. I don't know why this one has such bad eye.
Well,
she's been dealing with pus.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, anyway, I just wanted to
Makes me
say,
feel bad. I hate having to hurt her, but it's gonna affect her a lot more long term if I don't. Oh my god, baby, I am sorry. I know. If you hold still, hey. This eye's really being tough, isn't it, baby girl? Hey. Oh. Okay, now there you go. Go back to mommy.
oh goodness,
Noisy. Okay.
they're gonna wonder why there's.
I haven't
like...
seen any of The Witcher, so I'm kind of a blank slate.
Okay. Well, never mind. Call Bogart back in. We'll just do a non-spoilers.
You want to talk to yourself, maybe?
Yeah, never mind. Just get
I
Bogart back in
told you that
here.
I haven't seen The Witcher before.
Yeah, we'll just talk about it without spoiling it.
Okay.
Will you
Or
go
I
get
could
him?
just-
Let Bogart know he can come back in.
I could. No. You stay here. Watch your baby.
All right. Give us a minute, guys, because I figured since there's really no point in spoiling it because Chris hasn't seen the show yet, so we're just gonna do a non-spoiler for The Witcher 2. So I'm sorry for those of you who maybe were hoping to talk about it here. We are just not gonna spoil it. So we're gonna talk about some narrative things. We're gonna
He's
talk
busy.
that kind of thing. Okay,
He's
so
busy.
Is Bogart not gonna join us?
Not for another 10 minutes. Let's just say that.
That's fine. We'll probably be done within that time since you don't know anything about The Witcher. Do you have any questions about The Witcher, like maybe that I can answer?
Okay, so I know it's a medieval show, and I know the guy who played Superman plays in it, and he has a white wig, and everybody talks about how hot he is.
Yes.
But what is the show actually about?
All right. So in this world, basically, it's about a guy named Geralt. That's who Superman is playing.
Okay.
And Geralt is what is called a Witcher. And Witchers are like medieval mutants, essentially.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, except that, so basically there's, these herbs that these people take, and they're basically what Witchers they are monster hunters, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
and they're also kind of like fix-it men, if that makes any sense. Any problem you have, you can literally call a Witcher to fix. He doesn't just end up fight. Witchers carry two swords for a reason. The two swords they carry is they have a silver sword, and the silver sword is for monsters, and they have a regular steel sword for humans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Witchers are often they're supposed to be called in for battle with monsters, but they're not always called in for battle with monsters. Sometimes they're called to fight other people. So it's just kind of like that kind of scenario. And then so you have that, and then Witchers also have magic. They have this thing called signs. So, what a sign is it's like a spoken word or something. It's like Witchers basically have this handful of magic that they can do, and that's and they call them signs. They can make shields. They can make almost like a force blast, kind of like Star Wars. You know what I mean? They can push you back with kind of almost like the Force. They can also cause things to heat up or make fire. There's a ton of things they can do. There's not a ton, but there's a good chunk of things they can do with them. And then of course all the Witchers are mutated in different ways. So Geralt has silver hair and his eyes are very cat-like. That's why they're kind of that yellowish color naturally. That's
I didn't know that they were. I haven't. Yeah. I've only seen pictures here and there.
Yeah, you'll notice it more when you watch the show. You'll because his eyes will pop out at you. And also they also have potions they take that increase their power. They're already physically stronger than most people. Think of them they're all Captain America level dudes basically.
Okay.
And Geralt is especially strong for a Witcher. He's kind of unique among them. So that's what's kind of interesting about him is he's stronger than most of them. Not physically, just overall kind of thing. He's more powerful. Mm-hmm. And then they carry they learn everything there is to know about killing monsters. Also Witchers are often sold into it. almost like
Oh.
slavery. Yeah, almost like, it's kind of weird. It's not like, almost like slavery. Like when people just want to get rid of like orphans and stuff, they'll send them to the witchers.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's a
That's
brutal.
nice.
Yeah.
It does sound like something that would exist, though.
Yeah, it's very brutal. The other thing is, like, you're not guaranteed to survive the training process. Like,
Oh, nice.
oh
That's
yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
I love that.
Some of them die as kids because part of training to fight monsters is eventually they actually have to fight them, and sometimes they don't survive the battle. And I'm talking like low level monsters. Like they don't send the kids after the big stuff like dragons and stuff like that off the bat or anything, And I'm mentioning dragons just because it's going to be the most familiar thing that you're going to know, because they're going to talk about a lot of monsters that just are like weirdly named. Yeah. And they don't send the children off to fight them first. They like and there's also an animated series connected to this that's more about the Witcher that's trained Geralt instead of the, you know what I mean? So there's an animated series about this. So you actually have like technically 3 seasons of Witcher content to watch.
Okay.
Yeah. To get it all in if you wanted to. Like, in fact, you might want to ask him
to start watching it. I just haven't had access to Netflix in a while, and I kind of forgot about it. And I've had people tell me it's good, but I just didn't know anything about it.
Oh yeah, it
I
is
kind
really.
of forget that it exists.
Oh yeah, it's really interesting. Also, Witchers live a really long time, and they age slower. Yeah, like I think the lifespan is like 10 times the normal human lifespan.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, like Geralt is technically like 50 something, I think. In the story. Yeah, he's not a young man. I mean, he's not an old man either. That's the thing. Like, in Witcher years, he's like still in his 30s. You know what I mean? Like at oldest, and he's gonna look like that for a long time. Like, I think the guy that trained him is like almost 1,000 or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and it took him a long time to look like an old man. Like, because when you see him young, he's like 80. Yeah, in the animated version, you're gonna see him when he's a young man. You're gonna see his life, right? The guy who trained Geralt. You're gonna see him go from child to young adult, and then you're gonna see him meet somebody he knew when they were children, and she's like, "Oh, I'm 70. I'm nearly 80 years old," and he still looks like he's like in his 20s. Because he took these drugs, these mutagenic drugs, and he's, he just looks younger, and they age slower than humans do. So they have like a 10 times lifespan than normal people. But there's a drawback to it. So one of the drawbacks for being a Witcher is like, yeah, you live longer, but you also can't make babies.
Ha! Shucks, darn it.
Yeah.
It's the good old Black Widow dilemma again.
Pretty much. Except that, like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously their equipment works, they just can't. They're all male.
They're just fertile.
Yeah, they're infertile. The whatever it is that makes them superhuman, or makes them better at killing monsters, makes them infertile for some reason. And then
sounds like a fuckboy's dream.
Yeah, right. You get to be
live forever, stay young looking, so you can seduce young women, but you don't ever have to worry about knocking any of them up.
Yeah, pretty much. And the other part of it is like also it's only guys get to become witchers. They don't take girls.
That sucks. That's sexist.
I know. In fact,
let there be women witchers.
Actually, Geralt's adopted daughter is the first female witcher.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I won't tell you who she is or anything about her, but you are gonna meet her in season 1. You're gonna meet her. I'm just not gonna tell you anything about who she is yet.
Oh no, I love a good surprise.
Yeah, but you'll meet her. But yeah, like, so basically that's kind of Geralt's story, and another thing is witchers have a problem expressing emotions. Like
they're men. You mean they're men?
Yes, but not like real men. Like, the problem isn't that they don't feel emotion; they can't express it. Like their face.
Still men.
No. Their face won't let them express emotion. So people believe they don't have any emotions because they're very stern, almost robotic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know how, like, you'll see me smile, you'll see when something makes me laugh. I really find it funny, you know what I mean? Like, for Geralt, if something really is funny to him, you get a smirk. Like, so, like, where I would be like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, knee slapping, he just goes. He just goes. That's it. That's all you get. And so it comes off as callous, but the truth is like, and so the only emotions he can really express are like anger and like a like a very mild sense of happiness. It's like the only two emotions his face will let him express. Like, for example, when he thinks his lover is dead in the second season, he, like, people are like, you should be heartbroken, and he goes, who says I'm not? But he can't express it. His face, he can't cry. He can't cry. It's like, it's kind of like, and it's debated on whether it's like the chemicals that make him a witcher doing it, or the training. It's yeah, it's probably a combination of both, really. But like, yeah, but people think witchers are unfeeling, like that they don't have feelings at all, that they're just cold-blooded monster killing machines, and that the only thing they care about is killing monsters and getting money. And another popular quote in the Witcher series is, there is killing monsters and coin, but rarely both.
No, don't walk off the bed.
Is this the blind one?
It's the blind one. Mm-hmm. The blind mice.
But yeah, so basically that's like the story of The Witcher, and of course, like, there's a lot of factions involved, and lots of supernatural beings, demons, various types of like banshees and things like that. Like, there's so many different, like, and there's some weird ones. Like, there's like some kind of tree monster they have to fight at some point, and it's very like crazy. There's I made a joke when I first saw, like, there's a scene in one of the Witcher episodes. I'm not gonna say which one, but there's a scene where, like, this guy has a tentacle vine sticking out of his back, and my inner goofball in my head thought to me, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
No.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. I was sitting there thinking to myself, I started chuckling.
He's a baby.
But yeah, there's so that's the Witcher in a nutshell. It's a medieval story. It's got magic. Like, there's like factions of magic users, of sorcerers and sorceresses, and they're like very prim and proper type of people, and there's also a little bit about racism in there.
Oh, cool! My favorite subject.
The elves are the minority in this world.
Okay.
So regular humans are cruel to elves and think themselves better than them.
We're better at making babies.
And actually that's true. It is. Humans are better at making babies than elves in this universe, and that's part of the problem. I mean, elves live a lot longer than humans do, but you know what I mean? Like, they've had trouble making new elves. That's been one of the there hasn't been a pure red elf in like thousands of years or something like that. And like all the elves that are currently existing are like only half elf and like half something else. That's like one of the things that's an ongoing theme. So there's your racism there, kind of. What's another thing? It's kind of a thing. They're also, humans are not from that realm.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's set in like a medieval time, kind of fantasy era, but there's very much like they hint at like multiple realities, and like the walls that separate these realities are kind of like through magic can be broken or open portals to and stuff. So that's where a lot of the monsters that exist in this world and the humans come from. They're not. So the idea, the hint is that nope, the humans aren't actually from this world. They're from another one. But the elves welcomed them, and then humans did what white colonizers do, and they fucked the elves over like our ancestors did to the natives, pretty much.
Yay!
Yep, that's what happened. There's like revisionist history mentioned and things like that. It's all sorts of wild. The story is really crazy. And then in the video games, they've hinted at other things too. They're like, for example, Geralt's adopted daughter mentions something about seeing a world where with steam powered machines, because she can because in the video games she travels to these other realities and things like that, and she says that she likes that one with the steam powered machines. So basically, she went to a what do you call it, a steampunk universe essentially. Yeah, it's a very fascinating story. And then there's something called the Wild Hunt they mentioned, and they seem like demons or something like that. I don't know. It's very. I'm still waiting for the rest of I'm ready for season 3 already. So
there's 2 seasons so far?
Yeah, there's 2 seasons of the regular Witcher show, and then there's an animated series that is about the Witcher that trains Geralt, and he's the main hero of the IRL series. So you technically have 2 separate shows, but they're connected. So to get the whole story. So if you want I would start with the animated series if you want to go chronological for the story. Start with the animated series first and then go into the real one.
Okay.
Because the animated one is going to have it's going to be talking about the guy who trained Geralt. And then you're going to meet him in season 2 when he's an old man. So, just FYI. Although that shouldn't be too much of a spoiler for you, I think. I'm pretty sure, just the fact that you're going to meet him, that's not really much of a spoiler there. It's not integral to the story. I think you're going to really like it because I think you're going to relate to the girl that Geralt falls in love with.
Oh, fun. The one who dies.
No, no. Well, there's 2 women in Geralt's life, or 3 women, I think, in Geralt's life that in his story that I'm aware of that he falls in love with. But I'm talking about the main lady, the one that was believed dead. And in the video games, he also got with another sorceress named Triss when he lost his memories. So he's actually in love with this other sorceress. Not Triss, but when he lost his memories, he fell in love with her. And then, of course, the first lady that Geralt really connects to, he had to kill her. It's a very tragic story. And they have a very simplified version of that story, I think, than the video game has. I think the video game has it more detailed. They go on more missions. It's a longer thing, and they're an actual romantic connection. Whereas and that's in the video game, but in this one they have a very simplified version of that where he feels like she's not exactly a villain, but she forces him into combat, so he doesn't really have a choice. He has to fight her. So it's very much it's a very tragic element to be in. You are gonna notice something that's gonna be a little bit annoying in season 1 is the way that the story is told. You're just gonna have to deal with that. It's not told in order. It's not chronological for season 1. And then they fixed that in season 2 though. So in season 2 they go back to telling the story in a normal way.
So like Pulp Fiction.
Kinda. They tell it out of order in the season 1, and then they're like, oh well. Because a lot of people mentioned they didn't like that. They wanted it to go in order. You know what I mean? And so season 2 they clearly fixed that. but it's really good. It's really well acted. I really love it. I actually want. Like I said, I'm already ready for season 3. It's gonna be good. All right, guys. If you have made it this far, my God, you guys are troopers. If you have made it this far in the video, you guys are troopers. I think it is time for me and Carissa to end it because it's kind of late for us. I know it is probably late for Carissa. She looks like she's about to pass out already.
It's almost midnight. It's not like super late, but it's late enough that I'm definitely drowsy.
Yeah, and I've still got shit I gotta do, like, you know, my 3 a.m. dishes. That's a little inside joke between me and Carissa.
It's 3 a.m. It's time to wash dishes. Of course. What else would you do at 3 a.m.?
And the audience is just like, what is it? What are they talking? That's the best part is like the audience has no clue.
3 a.m. dishes. Every night you gotta do your dishes at 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's 3 a.m. dish time. Anyway, guys, if you have made it this far in the video, make sure you leave a like. Tell us what you're excited about for Marvel. Leave a comment about The Witcher. What are you guys excited for to happen there? If you saw Westside Story, you can leave a comment about it. I probably won't respond, but maybe Carissa will lurk in the comment section at some point. You never know. And you two can talk about that. I'm sticking to the Marvel and the Witcher stuff. Anyway, and if you're new, consider subscribing. Leave a like. It really helps the video. And I don't know about you guys, but I've got 3 a.m. dishes to do and a nap coming. So we'll catch you later. Peace!